Nam aloha. So I've entitled this video, What's the Spiritual Threat to the Human Species? What truly threatens our spiritual extinction as a humanity? Well, it's our shadow. It's our collective shadow. And shadow is our ignorance. It's our denial of our true identity. It's our darkness that we refuse to acknowledge. So the more we deny our shadow, the stronger it becomes, and then it gets projected out into the external world. And this is what we're seeing today, our collective shadow at work, moving through the world. So each one of us is made up of light and shadow. They don't teach us this in school. And organized religions teach that the shadow is something outside of ourselves. Government teaches us that there's an enemy that we must destroy, that's a threat to us, right? This is all our shadow. And most people are afraid to look at their own shadow. They prefer to project it onto someone else. So we're entering the age of enlightenment, and this means that we're here to merge our light and shadow in order to evolve. Sounds easy, right? But first we have to see it. It doesn't work this way. You close your eyes and, okay, I'm merging my shadow now. It doesn't work that way, right? You've got to see it first. You've got to feel it first, right? And we've got plenty of opportunities to see our shadow out in the world right now. All the corruption, the greed, the oppression, the lying, the deceit, right? The collective shadow lifting its ugly head for us all to see. So in the Piscean age, right, generally speaking, this shadow is hidden behind a persona, the personality. And now there's no more hiding for this shadow, right? It's like it's trying to hide in a glass house with glass furniture, right? You can't hide anymore, not for the Aquarian age. But the majority of people would rather say, well, this darkness, it has really nothing to do with me, right? It's them. They're evil and I'm good. And that's a lie that we tell ourselves, which is also shadow hiding shadow. So remember that we're evolving as a humanity, and this means we're growing up. We're becoming spiritual adults, and that means taking responsibility for our part in our collective dream. We're waking up from the dream, right? From the Maya, from the Matrix, if you want to call it that. And the next step to that is to see our contribution to this collective dream. And this epiphany can be shocking for many people, right? So where I live, I'll give you a little example here. So where I live, there's a lot of wealthy people that live here. And I was talking to this man who found a new stockbroker, right? And the stockbroker makes people a lot of money with his investments. So I was asking him just out of curiosity, well, what did he tell you to invest in? Well, he said you can't go wrong with military weapons. You always make money on military weapons, no matter how bad the economy gets. I just listened, right? A couple days later, I mentioned this to a mutual friend who is spiritual, saying, I think I would be a little bit concerned where I invest my money, my energy. That would incur a lot of karma, right? To invest in war and to murder and destruction. Well, out of her came the shadow. Well, that's just the way the world is. It's reality. It's always going to be this way. We need war for these reasons, blah, 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 blah. And as she talked, I watched her energy close down, right? No more opening. And I also learned later that she is also using the stockbroker to invest her money in. So that's just a little example of the shadow hiding the shadow, right? And we can say, well, it's horrible. There's so much suffering in the world. Why can't we just have peace on the planet? Why is there so much war, right? This is disassociating ourselves from the shadow. And we're each contributing to this collective dream. Some with their money and profiting from war and destruction, right? That was pretty obvious, that example. But we also contribute to the shadow of war by being in conflict with other people, fighting with others, right? Seeing people as separate from ourselves, the other, right? We're contributing to the shadow of war. And how do we create peace in the world? Well, we bomb other countries, don't we? To create peace, of course. That's how you create peace. You just bomb everybody. You know, the future generations of humanity will look back at these times and say, what were these people thinking? Why did they blindly follow these psychopaths into their destruction? And that's the purpose of the shadow, right? If we let the shadow just go unhinged, is destruction, complete destruction. So let's keep with this example, right? So spiritually, how do we get rid of war? Well, we go inside and we transmute our own personal shadows. We humble our ego, right? And say, I'm on this planet of duality. I'm here now in the midst of this great transition, which means I have spiritual work to do, right? If I didn't have any work, I just wouldn't be here anymore, right? Do you think the Creator put you on this planet now, of all the times in our human history, now during this great shift of the ages, so that you could live in fear and deny that you have any work to do, right? To deny that you have anything to do. I have nothing to do with what's going on in the world, right? So by work, spiritual work, I mean work that gets done without working, right? So this means I bring the light of my awareness. I bring my attention onto these dark areas of my psyche. That's it. Okay? I see greedy people out in the world, right? Well, I ask myself, how am I greedy? Right? And if you're lost, because it's really difficult to see your own shadow, we can only see it in the reflection of the world, right? And people serve that as our reflection so that we can see ourselves. Well, you put out a little prayer. Put out a little prayer to your higher self. Put a prayer out to your God self, your eternal self, that sees both your light and shadow, that knows you the best. It will show you where your shadow lives if you sincerely put out a prayer. So right now, as a humanity, we're balancing the light and the shadow for the Aquarian age. And the collective shadow seems to be winning, seems to be gaining power and strength, because humanity is in a major denial of our creative power. And the Aquarian age is the age of empowerment. So we're all creating this experience. So this experience of tyranny, like let's go to the collective dream, right? We're creating this together because we fear our own power. We would rather someone else have the power over us. I know it sounds crazy, but it's true. We'd rather someone else have the power over us. Why? Why? Well, because to own your own power is to realize that you are responsible. You alone are responsible for your life, not somebody else, not mommy and daddy, not your boss, not your partner, not a deity, not a savior, not the government or medicine or a pill. You and you alone are responsible for your life. So let that truth bomb sink in. I mean, how would you behave if you knew without a doubt that you and you alone are responsible for what you see out in the world? So shadow is necessary, right? Darkness is necessary. The unknown is necessary. We need shadow to evolve, right? We need shadow to wake up from the dream. We need shadow to see the light. We need shadow to make a choice between good and evil. So the cure can be found in the poison. That's right, the cure can be found in the poison. So within that shadow contains inner light, and this is the divine light that's buried within the shadow, deep within the shadow. Right? It's the yin and the yang, right? Where there's light, there's shadow. Where there's shadow, there's light. It's the balance. So we need to stop blaming everyone and everything for the predicament we find ourselves in. We're in a pickle as a humanity, but we have no one to blame but ourselves. So we need to pull ourselves out of the despair, out of the hopelessness. We need to stop lying to ourselves, right? By saying that we're powerless, we're too small, it's too big. That's a big fat lie. So we've all participated in this collective dream in one way or another, right? Our ancestors participated in this collective dream. And now we're at a culmination point right now. In fact, this shadow consciousness, right? Because it's coming from each one of us, but it has its own consciousness in itself, its own living entity. Well, it's trying to create another dream within this dream, the virtual reality. That will be quite the web to untangle from if this comes through. But remember the prophecy. 1/3 remain asleep in the dream. The zombies, right? They're still in the dream. 1/3 leave the planet, check out, right? Not here anymore. And 1/3 awaken. That's the prophecy. So for this Aquarian age, it's time to go within and face the fears. Face the childhood traumas, face your mind, face the shadows. You know, in the higher spiritual purpose of these lockdowns, like raise it up, elevate it up, it's to get us to stop swarming the earth, consuming experiences like locusts, right? And to finally go within. The divine is calling each one of us to go within and get ready, right? Prepare ourselves for the birth of this new humanity so that we can all create a new collective dream, right? That's in balance. So this birth requires the individual, not the collective, but the individual. That's where all the power is. So each one of us, right, one at a time, one individual at a time, has to go through the process of individuation. And this means becoming our authentic self, our true self-sovereign, whole, and fully in our power. So we've got 5 more years, right, leading up to 2027 of this pressurization. So either life will do it for us or we got to get proactive, right? And that's the easier way to go. It's just to get proactive and do this, your spiritual work, right? Of purification, to get ready, to prepare. So a good place to start is learning about your authentic self so that you can let go of your shadow self, your false self. So my recorded readings teach you what you need to eat, how your brain works, how your mind works, how the right environment for you, how your awareness works, what you're supposed to see out in the world, how you're supposed to make your decisions, right? It's all unique to your chart because each one of us is an individual. So that's 1.5 hours long, and that's still on sale, $25 off for the month of December. So check that out in the links. And also we'll be having a live group meditation either Thursday or Friday, this Thursday or Friday. So as long as you're on my newsletter list, you'll receive the Zoom link. And if not, sign up for my free newsletter and you'll be sure to get the link. So you can find that information below. And also I have both my Healing the Father Wound and Healing the Mother Wound webinar series. And that's almost 13 hours of content plus meditations for $99 for both of them. So if you know that you've got work to do with your parents, your earthly parents, I suggest going there. You can find the links below there. And please leave any comments below, especially about how you're doing, how you're coping through these challenging times. Some people are riding the wave high and some people are like under it, right? Or both, right? Depending on the day. So, and I also want to thank to all the people who have made donations, however small. I really appreciate it. And thanks you for subscribing, ringing the bell, and sharing. And you can follow me on Telegram, Instagram, Odysee, and Facebook. And I hope to see you next week at the group meditation. Okay? So have a great day, evening, and I'll see you soon. Satnam Aloha.